I'm a little bit the worse for wear this morning.
Really, why?
Well, you know, in my last video, I announced I was going to do my memoirs about my father, thinking my father was gay for a lot of reasons, you know, or homosexual. I mean, I want to state that he lived with my mother, had 5 kids, slept with my mother for as far as I know for 35 years. But I perceived him as having a number of affairs on the side with men. And since I was molested by one of these partners, this really made a big impression on my mind. You know, it was like etched in acid. Mm-hmm. That I would go over and over it and think, well, and I didn't tell about the molesting because of this reason. Why? Because I perceived my society as being so reactive to homosexual, you know, that 2 men, one that could be married, could be having sex with one another. This was in Utah. Just was so unheard of. That is, nobody talked about it. I couldn't get this out of my mouth. I couldn't talk about it because I was as shocked about my dad as I was almost about the molesting. I just but anyway, when I announced this to the family that I was going to do these memoirs, publish them, I've already had quite a big family fight over this. My sister took great offense to this.
Who was going to publish them?
Me! I'm going to publish them.
With what?
With the help of my benefactors. This one even. I don't know how much money he has. I don't think he has too much money to put on this, so it may be, you know, just 250 copies or something like that.
What? 250 copies?
I
thought we were talking $25 or $50, you know. I might go 75 tops.
Had to go to war over this because the family, some members of the family, perceive this as being a disgrace. Don't see why I can't just keep my mouth shut maybe until I'm dead. Why do I have to tell about this, what I think? Why do I have to? And I'm saying, this, for heaven's sake, I just don't think we should look upon homosexual feelings as being that terrible, as being that much of a disgrace, considering that quite a large members of our populace have these feelings. So why would this be such a disgrace?
You got a problem with homosexuality? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I can see why my dad didn't ever come out as a homosexual, because he wanted to be respected and he wanted to be accepted in society, and so he saw marriage and children as giving him this, which I can see why. But you know,
yeah,
it's
you're
just
not going to get a lot of children.
Endless problem.
You're not going to get a lot of children with another guy unless
No.
it works something out that I'm not aware of, and you're not aware of.
And reason I'm writing my memoirs is I think this should
cloning is here.
Well, I think that the time should come when, if a homosexual man wants children and he makes an agreement with a woman, but he should not be hiding.
Yeah, they call it marriage.
Yeah, marriage. He should not hide what he is. I mean, they should come to terms about, you know, like I've had relationships, lived with men who were bisexual or thought had homosexual. Not you, but others, and I would tell them. Now, if you step out on me with a man, I can't handle that. So, you know, we'll come to the parting of the ways over that. And I've always done that, felt that. But if the woman is like my mother, she seemed to be forever trying to find a big enough reason to leave my dad. And that reason did not come to her mind. And my feeling is that she probably left my dad quite a few years before if she could have just thought of that reason. But she didn't. And a memoir like mine, I'd like other women to keep that in mind, that maybe the reason why you're made is so unsatisfactory, you don't even know why, all the reasons, that might be one of the reasons.
Very well said.
Yes, well, this was one of the reasons my dad married. And my mother saw him as an attractive husband because he had property. He was a good worker. He was smart. All the reasons.
He inherited a big pile of money. And he did.
Yeah, he did inherit.
How much money did he have when he croaked, huh? 6 figures?
Yes, well.
7 figures?
Yeah, well, there's no. So that's. Any woman would be attracted to those kind of attributes in a man.
I'd be attracted to a woman who's got...
And I benefited from having a father who could send me to college, who was a good worker, who was very smart. I benefited. And I feel like that, but the but was...
There's that big
that
but.
he had those feelings that were not talked about. And my mother was a smart woman. She, in a lot of ways, she read a lot. I feel like she could have handled this if she'd been educated to it. If she'd had any idea that could be one of the drawbacks in my father's character, I think she could have found a way to handle it a lot more sanely than she did. Being confused, unable to figure out what was, and also I could have confided in her. But as it was, I couldn't be the one to educate her as little as I was. And I continued to educate myself to figure out how I could handle having a dad like this. But I didn't have my mother as my friend or my ally in this because she was too ignorant. She didn't know anything about it. She hadn't studied it. She was the kind of person that if she wanted to understand something, she'd send away books on it. She would understand it. She would study it. And if she'd realized she had a husband like this, I think she'd have studied it. In fact, she did study it later on when she got a boyfriend who was like this. And us daughters told her, we told her her boyfriend was bisexual. And so then she started thinking about it, and she come up with some ideas about it. She wasn't real mean about it. She wasn't never mean to him over it. She just got educated at the fact that...
You have 1 minute.
Okay.
And then I'm going.
Yes.
Then I'm going.
So my mother made another alliance.
I'm throw up.
Oh yes. Well, look at him. He's still. You see, my mother's boyfriend was very, very talented musician, and she loved it. She loved that part of him. So, anyway, I'm going to try to persist in my writing my memoirs, even though I'm already getting into some.
You're being ostracized by your family.
Oh,
I can't blame them, I mean, really. I don't even know.